All right, it is 11:13 a.m. on this beautiful Saturday. It's not Sunday now. Oh, there's a cardinal. I don't know why, but I love cardinals. My grandparents love them too. They're bird watchers now. Anyway, 11:14 Sunday morning, and I am allowed to make the worst little episode I have ever had. I say that it's a almost like a little prayer for me before I start writing or recording, and I got that from Natalie Goldberg, an author, writer. She wrote this book called Writing Down the Bones, and it's basically a book for people that like to write. That if you want to be a writer, you need to free write. You basically just need to write whatever comes to your mind, write it down, and you don't worry about the outcome or what's going to come out. Like, oh, was that a stupid sentence? I shouldn't have used that word. Going back and erase it. Nah. You misspell something, you keep going. You make a sentence fragment, you keep going. And the idea is that we often get in our own way when we are worried about the outcome or what it's going to look like. And the same applies not just for the writing, but for really anything in life. And so she says that before she writes sometimes, or she tells her students when she's teaching them about free writing, is to just tell yourself right at the beginning, I am allowed to write the worst piece of crap. And from that place, if you're already saying that, like, I can be terrible, I'm at the bottom, then from anywhere else, you're up. So it lowers your expectations. It removes all worry from a particular result or outcome, and then you are much more likely to just flow and get into the zone. And interestingly enough, um, the one of the spiritual books of Hinduism, the Bhagavad Gita, which I've been reading a bit. Yeah, I'm all over the place. I like to just read a lot of different spiritual books. I just think that you can, excuse me, draw wisdom from every tradition. And it's like the more I read books from Christianity, not just the Bible, there's a whole branch of Christianity called Christian mysticism. And that kind of branch of Christianity is a lot aligned with Hinduism, with Buddhism, with Taoism, with so it's like all these different religions kind of intersect, so to speak. And I think that you can draw a lot of benefit and learn um, if you take a bit from all. Now, you don't have to be, I think you could do that and still be Hindu. I think you could do that and still be Christian. I don't think it's immoral or wrong to take value from other books, but that's just me. Anyway, reading the Bhagavad Gita a bit last night, um, there is a term or concept called nishkama karma. And basically, that means action without desire. And it refers to performing your duty without any attachment to the results or the fruits of that action. And it's kind of in line with what Natalie Goldberg and how you say, like, I can write the worst piece of crap ever. So when you do that, you kind of detach your mind from any outcome. You're like, all right, this is already crap. I ain't going to worry about what happens. I'm just going to do it. That's kind of this nishkama, nishkama karma. And so I just Googled that. What is the term within the Bhagavad Gita that calls this term of, like, doing action without worrying about the fruits or outcomes? And it says it's that. And Gandhi apparently has he says his secret to life can be summarized in three words: renounce and enjoy. And it says that this principle, which he drew from the first verse of the Upanishads, which is within the Bhagavad Gita, suggests that true enjoyment is only possible when you detach from selfish desires and the outcome of your actions. And that to Gandhi, renouncing didn't mean giving up work or fleeing to a cave, hiding out from anything. It just meant performing your duties while giving up the fruits. And he believed that only by letting go of your obsession with success or failure, are you truly free to enjoy the act itself? And for me, that is so true. Not just with this recording stuff, with writing, but with, for instance, with basketball. For me, I loved basketball. That was the sport I played growing up. 5 years old, listening or watching Space Jam, playing the intro on repeat while dunking a Nerf hoop, ball in the Nerf hoop, having a great old time. Anyway, when I was in high school, trying out for the basketball team, I took it so serious. And I think that hurt me because when it came time to go out there on the court, during a game or even at practice, I was so worried about doing the right thing. Is this what the coach wants? People are watching me. It was hard for me to just play the game. And it's kind of like, when you're by yourself and you're doing something, you have your best performances, whatever the case may be, whether, you play a musical instrument or a video game. When nobody's watching you, the pressure is off. You're not worried about the result. But then you get an audience. There's a gold medal on the line, like the recent Alyssa Liu, the figure skater, the American figure skater, who killed it because she also did a similar thing of not worrying about what happened. Now, I'm not going to go into the figure skating story right now, but I just think that's really important thing to know. Back to the basketball. I would obviously be just so worried, so focused on doing the right thing. Oh, is coach going to start me? I just scored a point or a basket. And that kind of energy you take away from the task itself. Half of your brain is worrying about results, a projection into the future, worrying about yourself and your image and your value to others, while you should be just immersed in whatever that thing is that you're doing. And I've actually have been blessed enough to kind of learn this principle through meditation, staying in the present moment as best you can, because that's really what this is about, is staying present, not worrying about the future. And I still play basketball in an adult men's league, where it's like dudes 25 to 50. It's a great time. We have fun. But it's so interesting because now, having learned this principle and understanding it, I can play so much more freely. I don't even remember what happens on the court. Like after the games when we play, they'll a team member will be like, "Oh, remember that pass? Or remember that shot someone you did or something like that?" And I honestly don't remember. And I would like to think that's because I'm just in the zone. I'm just present. I'm not even a person at that point, if that makes sense. I'm just in the game. I'm part of the game. And when I do that, I am so much better. Because sometimes, let's say there's a team we're playing and they do trash talking, and it gets me angry, gets me fired up, and you feel like, all right, we got to show them. Now I'm playing for a sense of ego, for a selfish desire that I need to show them. I need to prove to them that I'm better, blah blah blah. And when I'm in that kind of mode, don't play nearly as well. And I think this is true, obviously, not just for basketball and from writing, but think about podcasts, like Joe Rogan's podcast. You may not like Joe Rogan's podcast, that's fine, but I would say that he doesn't worry about what other people think. He said that he doesn't look at the comments, he doesn't look at the results or the views. He just is on there and talks to people that he's interested in. And I think that's just the core of this principle. This, what's it called again? Last time I'm going to say it. This nishkama karma, detachment, renounce and enjoy. So for whatever it is that we're trying to do in life, if we can remember this principle to just stay as present as possible, and knowing that more than likely we're going to have better outcomes, which is what we want if we don't worry about the outcome. It's ironic or paradoxical that you get better results when you don't worry about the results. Switching gears entirely, there is something beautiful about being outside. My goodness. It's Sunday. Yesterday, Saturday, I was outside a lot of the day. I woke up, went outside with my wife. We got some sun. It's March. It was March 20. It's March 22nd. So it was March 21st yesterday, and it's like that perfect weather, like 75 degrees, 70, nice breeze, got the sun shining. So we were enjoying that. Then I went for a run at the park, doing my sprints. Talked about that on a previous episode. And then later in the day, I went outside to the garage and I was just chilling in the garage watching basketball on TV we have in there. And yeah, so I was outside much more than I normally am. About it was probably like 3 to 4 hours being outside, and there's just something about that just feels so damn good. It just feels natural or something. Like when I'm working, or you have to be in like the office, or just have to be inside all day. You don't really notice it. It's just normal. We're inside all the time. But when I really notice it is when like one of these times when I get to go outside, and then when like the day is over and you get to when you go to bed, or you're watching TV like at 8 or 9 o'clock and you finally do settle down, it feels like a weight is off. Like, oh, this is okay. Like I deserve this. I've earned this rest indoors. It's hard to describe, but there's just this satisfying feeling of getting that outdoors time. And I'm curious. I'm wondering. I'm gonna type into Google. I really need to set this up so I can share my screen, so you guys see what I'm typing, and I'll do that. I just haven't gotten around to it, so I'm just kind of dictate to you what I'm typing in. So, is there a correlation to satisfaction or overall contentment with outdoors time? I was outside a good bit yesterday, more than normal, and I just felt so good compared to my normal, mostly indoors routine. Is there science behind this at all? All right, let's see what this bad boy says. Ah, damn it. I clicked thinking on Gemini. You can choose between like fast or thinking fast. Obviously, just spit out an answer. Oh, I guess the thinking's getting faster. All right. It said it's definitely just not side in your head. There is a mountain of peer-reviewed evidence suggesting that the post-outside glow you're feeling is a measurable biological and psychological shift. When you swap a controlled indoor environment for the outdoors, your body and brain undergo several specific changes. Here's the science. So indoor environments are static, fixed lighting, recycled air, and limited focal depth. Oh, like how far you can see. Yeah, like the depth of your vision. So like, yeah, obviously you're outside, you can see, way down into the horizon and then look up at the sky and all that kind of stuff. Where if you're inside, you got the wall. That's it. Circadian rhythm regulation, exposure to natural light, even on cloudy days, helps regulate your pineal gland's production of melatonin and serotonin. Excuse me. This doesn't just make you feel more awake, it improves your mood and sets you up for better sleep later that night. There you go. Getting outdoors time increases the feel-good hormones and chemicals in the body, and then you can sleep better. Cortisol reduction. Multiple studies have shown that as little as 20 to 30 minutes in nature significantly drops levels of cortisol, the primary stress hormone. That is fascinating. Phytonicides. If you were near trees, you likely inhaled phytonicides. Airborne chemicals plants give off to protect themselves from insects. With humans, these have been shown to lower blood pressure and boost natural killer cell activity, which strengthens the immune system. What the hell? Phytonicides, an airborne chemical from plants, and lowers your blood pressure. That's insane. I did not know about that. Damn, it keeps going on and on. All right, we'll just do a few more things. It's a whole laundry list of shit that improves things. Well, there you go. That's why I felt so good yesterday. Get outside, folks. Key science-backed benefits. So one thing, it says fractal patterns, looking at complex repeating patterns in natures like trees and waves, like I guess waves on an ocean, can reduce stress levels by 60%. That's interesting how it says fractal patterns too, Because isn't like fractal patterns what people see during like psychedelic trips? Huh. Vitamin D, sunlight. This is a precursor to serotonin, the feel good hormone. Soft fascination. It reduces being outside reduces brain fog and restores the ability to focus on difficult tasks by being outside. Air quality, higher oxygen levels and lower CO2 levels outdoors improves cognitive function and energy. All right, so the take home here, research published in scientific reports suggests that the sweet spot to get these benefits is around 120 minutes per week. Well, that's not so hard. That's much more doable than like what I did yesterday, 3 to 4 hours. But it doesn't matter if it's one long hike or several short walks. Once you hit that 2 hour threshold, the correlation with high well-being scores becomes very strong. That's dope. Yeah, man. I like today. I'm gonna go grill outside. Even just going out in the backyard, firing up the grill. Gonna get some more time outdoors because once the week hits, strapped to this computer. But yeah, man, just important. Go outside. And it reminds me of one other thing I'll share before we move on is the Yosemite experience that I had. Me and my wife, we visited her sister and fiance now in California. We flew into San Jose. They live out in LA. And we met in San Jose to go to Yosemite National Park, an amazing park. Look up pictures if you've never seen it. It is absolutely beautiful. And we camped out there. We camped for like just a day or two, wasn't much. But when we did that, we were outside the entire time. And so we were very much on the rhythm of sunlight. So we'd wake up, you start to wake up when the light is pouring in, the sunrise, the light's pouring into your tent at 6:30, 7 a.m., 6 o'clock, whatever it was. And then you're up, and then you're out there all day hiking, whatever. And then it starts you see the sunset, and the sun start to fade, and you're more in tune with the sunlight. And it was amazing. It was the most de-stressing thing, and honestly makes me want to do camping or something. And I remember now thinking about it, how much at the time I was like looking up like getting an RV or something because I'm like, this is the shit. So my wife isn't a big camper. She doesn't like being like in a tent, but she loves the outdoors. So I'm like, all right, let's do an RV thing. What if we got an RV? And so that's still a dream of mine, is to eventually like we get an RV, maybe when we're retired or something, because we're about to have a kid on the way. But there's just something about being outdoors the majority of the time that it just feels right. It just feels aligned with whatever. So yeah. Lastly, work stress. Just did a meditation earlier on the Calm app. Highly recommend it if you're looking to start mindfulness or meditation. The Calm app is absolutely tremendous. And Tamara Levitt, like one of the head meditation people on the Calm app, the meditation for today was dealing with work stress and learning to, if you can, take pauses or breaks throughout your day, if possible, throughout your work day. And she said do what's called like a mindful minute. So if you count the amount of breaths you can do in 1 minute, which is probably like, I don't know, anywhere from like 3 to 6 or 7, something like that. And then whenever you can start to feel yourself getting worked up at work, if you're able to take one of those mindful minutes, to take a break, to take a couple deep breaths. And we often just keep going. Like we just think, I gotta get this part done. If I just get this part done, then I'll be good. And then what happens when you get one part done at work? A next big pile of shit gets thrown on your plate. And so the work will never end. And that's why they hired you, to continually solve problems. And if you're not a contract worker, you're going to more than likely have constant work. So to avoid this kind of trap of being a hamster on a wheel, of working yourself up, thinking go, 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 taking breaks, to pause, to try one of these mindful minutes, or just get up and go for a walk, go get some water, go to the bathroom. Do something to separate yourself from your work at least once an hour if possible. Even if it's just for a minute, or even if you have to stay there and just take a few deep breaths whenever you can. Taking a break from your work ensures that you not only take your work less seriously, you can solve problems better by taking a break, and you just feel better at the end of the day. So I did look this up. I didn't really look at the answer before, but I did type this ahead of time. So I asked this question to good old Google Gemini. Is there some truth behind the idea that the more you pay attention to something in a given time without a break, the more important that thing is perceived to be in your mind? So I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of cheated. I kind of know this. I know this already because I'm just a meditation nerd, and I've learned that whatever you place your attention on, the longer you have your attention on that thing for a given period of time, the more you get tunnel vision on that thing, and the more it's perceived to be important in your life. Which is why, for me, I'm a software developer, and there's a ticket, there's a thing that I'm working on right now, where basically, like in a website, like there's a little drop down, you click it, and then there's options. I'm doing some work with that. On Friday, I didn't give myself any breaks, and for I think 2 or 3 hours in a row, which is a long time for me without taking a break, I was just focused, trying to fix it. Like, oh, I'm almost there. I can do this. I'm almost done. And this ramped me up. This made it seem so much more important, and I was much more stressed. It took me a long time after that on Friday night to kind of decouple myself from my work. And a part of that is because my attention was so focused on it for that long. And there's some science stuff behind it, which I can share here. So here, this is what Google says. So when you focus on a single work task for hours, your brain enters a state of cognitive tunneling. You lose peripheral perspective. Oh, I've never heard of that term. That makes sense. It's like, like peripheral vision, things you can see on the side. I guess that's true with your thinking. Peripheral perspective would be being able to think outside the box. And if you get super focused, you start to see things only one way. So because your entire mental real estate is occupied by this one problem, your brain begins to treat it as a survival priority. See, when you start to see something as survival, as something to your survival, even though it's just some stupid thing at work, you start to develop more stress. And that's what it's. So if the task isn't going well, your nervous system can trigger a stress response, because in that moment, the tunnel is your entire world. You put so much attention on it. You're so focused on it that it becomes everything. And I just had a little insight. That's just kind of like meditation. You focus your breath, or you focus on a mantra, you focus on a sound. And if you focus so hard on that, if you do it for 20, 30 minutes, it can be like that's all there is. And that's why it can feel truly peaceful, because when it's your breath or some babbling brook sounds or birds, it's very relaxing, and that becomes your whole perspective world. But when it's a problem or stress at work, that stress grows, and then that whole problem becomes your world for a bit. So taking a break breaks the tunnel, allowing you to zoom back out and realize that while the task is important, it isn't an existential threat. So that's part of it. That's one of the big reasons to take a break. The second is the incubation effect. This is what they say is called the aha moment. So when you mention coming back fresher and having better ideas, this is scientifically known as incubation. So when you consciously stop thinking about a problem, your subconscious keeps working on it in the background. It's like a background task on your computer or something. By stepping away, you allow your brain to make clandestine connections. By stepping away, your brain makes clandestine connections between unrelated ideas that your focused logical mind would have filtered out. And I think this is like expanding or going back into that peripheral perception. When you're so focused, you can only think in one way, but when you give yourself a break, your brain opens back up because you break that tunnel. This is why your best ideas often come in the shower or while you're driving. Your inner focus is on a break, letting the creative and more flexible different neural pathways play with each other and figure things out that way. Yeah. So there is benefit, my friends. Walking away, changing your physical environment, do something else. True detachment, getting breaks, lowers your cortisol by resetting this internal importance meter. You prevent the task from feeling like a heavy weight you're constantly carrying, which directly reduces the feeling of burnout. And then you can problem solve and get new ideas through this incubation. So there you have it. Taking breaks is not lazy. It could literally make you more productive while reducing your stress and feeling of urgency, importance to your work. And to me, that's like a no-brainer. And my dumbass constantly forgets this. I get so excited, and it's more of just desire. It's more of just wanting to get it done. And I wanted to move this ticket over into code review, which is like the next phase once I get the code done. And I just realized that goes back to that nishkama karma. That goes back to working from a place of selfish desire, of wanting to get this off my plate because I want to be relieved of it, rather than just letting the work speak for itself, knowing that it'll get done when it gets done. And when you do it from a place of less stress, you feel better about it. You don't make it as important. It doesn't feel as heavy. And you often come up with better solutions. Work smarter, not harder. And the funny thing is that working smarter may mean doing less and having better results than if you just white-knuckled bear through it. It's amazing, man. The older I get, the more I learn and realize how the whole kind of grindy hustle culture is not intuitive and is often against our own best interests. And it's funny because we are all so conditioned to believe that more work, more effort is better. And that is a fallacy. That is a fallacy. And I have lived that many times over by when I stick to taking my constant breaks, coming back fresh, not taking my work too seriously. The results, even if they're not better, are the same. Rarely are they ever worse. No, they're never worse. So trust yourself. It's a weird feeling if you've never done it, if you've never taken breaks, if you always had that go, go, go mindset. But you'd be surprised if you give it a shot and have faith that maybe something else that's not as difficult be okay. It might be scary at first, but might be something worth trying. All right, I am at a solid 28 minutes, and congratulations if you actually made it to the end of this. You deserve a medal, a cookie, maybe a gift card of some kind. But that's it. I need to go. What do I gotta go do? Yeah, so this that right behind me, it's been a mess for years. I've just dumped shit in there, and I gotta go clean it out. Well, everything out of there is cleaned out. It's just all on the dining room table, which my wife just recently finished cleaning off with all the baby stuff, and I have replaced all that stuff with more of my shit. So I know she's not happy with that. But okay. That is good to go. Thank you all for listening. Mom, thank you for listening. If you made it this far, Mom. All right, I'm done. See y'all.